Welcome to another Erik Wait, a whiskey study. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Old Ezra number 7 barrel strength. This is bottled at 58.5% alcohol by volume, or 117 proof. I did an uncorking of this with Scott from My Bourbon Journey. If you want to see that entire video, I'll put a link to it at the end of this video. But before we get into this, here are my notes on this bourbon. Old Ezra 7 Kentucky Straight Bourbon is produced by the Luxco Company. The Luxco Bourbon portfolio consists of Rebel Yell, Ezra Brooks, Yellowstone, David Nicholson, and Blood Oath. The company is currently a non-distiller producer and has been said to have sourced their bourbon from Heaven Hill. In 2018, they completed construction of their own distillery in Bardstown, Kentucky, on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. Lux Road Distillers features 18,000 square feet, 6 barrel warehouses at capacity, and a 143-foot custom copper still capable of producing 3 million gallons of spirit per year. This distillery will produce the bourbon for the company's own brands and will replace source product when their bourbon comes of age. The mash bill consists of 78% corn, 12% malted barley, and 10% rye. It is bottled at 117 proof, or 58.5% alcohol by volume, and the MSRP is $40. All right, so when I do an uncorking, if I do, let's say, a live one, I don't want to do a formal review of that because neck pours can be a little bit different from the rest of the whiskey when you get past the shoulder. So I always like to do a formal review later. Sometimes I do the uncorking off camera and wait till I get down below the shoulder to do the review. Other times I do an uncorking live, just sort of that learning experience of the sort of before and after effect of letting it open up a little bit. It's also been open for a week or more than a week since I've had Scott on, and I've been really enjoying this bourbon. I also did an International Whiskey Day celebration, which I did a lineup of a Scotch, an Indian whiskey, a Japanese whiskey, and then I did an American whiskey, this bourbon at the end. So I talked a little bit about that in that video as well. So if you want to see that bourbon and talked along with a bunch of other whiskeys and more international context, I'll put a link to that video as well. But let's get into this. So visually, looks like your standard bourbon, that sort of copper amber color on the nose. Again, smells like a standard bourbon. Sort of apple pie, apples, baked apples, a little bit of cinnamon on it, caramel corn, some new oak, loads of vanilla, some cardamom, cinnamon, nutmeg, baking spices, maybe a little bit of peach cobbler, some a little bit of butterscotch, or sort of Werther's butterscotch, and slightly overripe bananas on the palate. One more. One of the main things I really like about this bourbon is the texture of this bourbon. You get the Kentucky hug, you get that warmth in your chest. But it is super silky across the palate. It just glides. You get the warmth. I don't get a major bite. Yeah, a little bit of tingling. But it is creamy, it is round, mouth-filling. It just glides across your whole palate. It starts off with the fruit at the beginning, the apple pie character to it, and then some cinnamon, nutmeg, baking spices, and then finishes with vanilla, and then just a little sort of kiss of new oak. What really sells this bourbon for me is that textural experience, because other than that, it's pretty much a very common bourbon profile in terms of aromas and flavors. It's the texture that I find really sells it. I've had this neat. I've had it on ice. I've had it in a chilled glass. I like to try things different ways because it is, you know, a cask strength, barrel proof bourbon. You can put it on ice, chill a little bit, and it doesn't lose any intensity of flavor. In fact, texturally, it actually becomes seemingly weightier, heavier, even creamier. Right now, it's sort of silky. It then becomes a little bit more texturally like melted ice cream. But you want to get it before the ice melts too much. You know, don't want to go that far with it. But I find I really like this bourbon. Now, this one can be, lately, it seems, you know, things just disappear. It can sort of seem to be difficult to find. But I was able to get this online and have it shipped from a place down in Los Angeles. So, highly recommend it. What would I give it as a score? I'm going to give this a solid 90 points. It's absolutely fantastic, and I think one of the things that really sells it is that price point. Looking online, there are some places that are going, you know, $80 and up, but there are enough around to get in the $40, $50 range that you can find it. Now, there's another bottle when you're searching for Old Ezra that you might be tempted to think it's the same thing, and it's not. And it's 101 proof. So it's a lower ABV, and that one's selling for about $30. So if you think you've come across this bottle for $30, think, oh, this is a great deal, I'm gonna jump on it. Stop for a second and double check. Make sure that you're getting the barrel strength, not the 101, to get the same bourbon, because that one's, you know, they've watered it back a little bit and they're selling it for a little bit cheaper. But anyway, all right, that's it for this review. If you subscribe to this channel, I want to thank you very much. If you haven't yet subscribed, but you like watching my videos, I would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe. Give it a thumbs up, share with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, and other social networking channels. And until next time, cheers. Hey, if you like my review, be sure to check out these other whiskey videos.